Hi Internet and Casey, this is Melly with 25 and 52. I am talking to you from a gas station. It is super exciting. It's not super exciting, but that's okay. I just wanted to start recording something so that I'd have a starting point for later. I really like the way my haircut's growing in. I still kind of can't stop touching my head. It's a little bit awkward, but only a little bit, so I've also been making more intentional plans, I guess, more specific plans regarding my school visits, because I'm going to go to the Accepted Students Weekend, or whatever they're called, for both Emory and University of Washington. The Emory one is in 2 weeks, and the Washington one is 2 weeks after that. So I'm going to be going to some, a warm place and an otherwise exciting place. So that's cool. Travel is expensive, but I am sort of spoiling myself a little bit with, not spoiling myself. I am doing something nice for myself with the Emory thing and staying at not super swanky, not oh my god, you're spending how much, but more than I needed to. Nice hotel in downtown Atlanta so that I have some extra time. I can walk around, I can see stuff, go to a cool place to eat, the usual. Anyway, my gas just finished, so I'm going to talk to you more later. Hi, Internet and Casey. This is Melly with 25 and 52. I remember telling you a little bit that I was really annoyed at how Eurocentric the history of astronomy, history of science, but history of astronomy and cosmos was, because a lot of the discoveries that led into the stuff they talked about were in different parts of the world. And I looked up some timelines of Wikipedia, and I'm going to talk to you about that today. So, when I decided to look up some additional history of astronomy stuff, it was all like, here are some famous astronomers. They are mostly white, mostly dudes, mostly from Europe. And I'm like, I know. They did some important things, and I agree, and that's real cool, but, there are more people in the world than white dudes from Europe. First of all, basically, every ancient civilization that had religion and built things, built, special sundial type things, or, the pyramids, in ways that meant that they've basically, they've been studying the stars for a long time. I had trouble finding information on whether Chinese civilizations thought that celestial motion was geocentric, so, around the Earth, versus heliocentric, around the sun. In 1088, the Shenkuo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm probably not, a Chinese writer talked about how the Earth was spherical, and that the moon's light was based on reflected sunlight, that it wasn't giving off light of its own. And that's early. That is early for that knowledge. In 5th century India, they were able to figure out that Earth rotates, not revolves around something, but rotates, and that the planets revolved in elliptical orbits, not circular. And so basically, starting around the 6th century, India and the Arab world at that point started having a lot of cultural exchange, including scientific knowledge, and a lot of what was going on in the finer parts of Arab astronomy I didn't really pay that much attention to, because it was mostly about improving tools, making them much, much more useful and much, much better, which, is important. I agree. That is great. But a lot of it was also about sort of synthesizing all these different schools of thought and putting them together. Some Arab scientists, some Arab astronomers had a lot of trouble. They pointed out a lot of problems with geocentrism in the way it was then, but they didn't really make the leap to heliocentrism, right? But they were like, this doesn't work numerically there, and this doesn't work numerically there, and this doesn't work, so maybe it's like this instead, maybe it's like that instead. I don't know. I still think it was cool. So, like, there's a lot of things that could have been talked about in there, and admittedly I wasn't paying the most attention, so maybe they were, but I kind of doubt it. Now, before I go and, shit all over this show, it's pretty great. You should watch it. It's totally, it's worth seeing. There's some really cool visuals, and Neil Tyson is very intelligent and awesome and a great communicator of science things. So he was the clearly logical choice to do this project with, and it's great. Of course, my inner biologist was like, but... So they talked about the beginning of life, but they didn't talk about some of my favorite history of the universe things, which are about how Earth developed its atmosphere and the Great Oxygenation Event, and changes in the atmosphere. Then obviously, there was this sort of huge leap from first life to life crawling up on land, and I'm like, that's too big. To be fair, there were a lot of things to fit into that episode, so I don't know, maybe there just wasn't space. I'm gonna go with that and it'll be fine. So that's my video for right now. I'm gonna not talk about what's going on in my life right now so that I have something to put in my video in a couple days, because I'm going to hopefully get back on track, because I would like to be on track when, oh god, we get to 52. That is so soon. It's like unbelievably soon. But yeah. Love you. Talk to you soon. Seriously, you were being entertaining before, and now you're just watching yourself.